Hello everyone, welcome to this Week in Star Citizen. I don't know. Dude, I don't know what this, I don't know, intros. Oh, why did I close out of Quantum? God damn it. There is stuff that they talked about, distribution centers, and they touched a little bit more on EVA and personal interaction system or whatever. What is it? Personal interaction experience, I think? Or something? I don't know. I'm sure I'm going to have forgotten some details. As you know, we're going to an underground facility. Of course, the distribution centers have always been an interesting thing to me. I'm not sure what to think about them. I think I want to reserve judgment until I actually see them. So, they really did, like, flat out say, hey, we want to have, like, we literally want to have lawful and unlawful players doing separate missions at the same location. Not only, like, lawful and unlawful, but, yeah, they said they want to have those missions going on all at the same time, and like, oh, well, you know, if you're being a bad, then you know, the NPCs will just have to, you know, they'll take care of you, as if, like, oh god, as if that's something that is just expected in the game right now, and isn't something that totally, like, isn't working and nobody thinks is going to work at all. So yeah, I don't know. Like, there's going to be a lot of people who complain. There's going to be a lot of people who don't like it. I'm sure. Just, like, from the idea of it, you know? Guess, like, I don't know, I can understand the expectation of, like, this is gonna be terrible. And I'm not gonna deny that I'm not saying it won't be. Yeah, What in particular about it? Oh, also, all of my, storage, 1SCU storage containers are on, apparently are on my, my Starlifter, so, like, we're just here, doing what we can. And, of course, I didn't bring a rifle, because why would I? Who do you think I am? A professional? Pfft. The thing I was worried or concerned or curious about, not worried or concerned necessarily, but like what? Was distribution centers being called distribution centers. In, like, the first iteration of like, in the first times they were talking about UGS or about distribution centers, they were called large underground facilities, and even, like, the monthly report after CitizenCon, where they introduced the name distribution center, that monthly report, correct me if I'm wrong, but refers to them as large underground facilities. They might simultaneously, actually, I'm not sure, or simultaneously use both terms, or interchangeably use both terms. Point is, I don't know. Oh jeez. Oh god. Oh. There is something about, like, the rhythm. Oh, jeez. There is something about, like, the rhythm of the fire rate of the S-38 that seems really weird. In fact, honestly, you know what? It just seems like sometimes the fire rate is just whatever it wants to be. Sometimes it's faster, sometimes it's slower. Good lord. Okay, so yeah, distribution centers. Thing I'm like, the point I was trying to make is, I think this, the distribution centers are supposed to be factories or warehouses or both. At least that's what it sounded like to me. And that's sort of my assumption that I'm working off right now. Which isn't bad. I'm gonna die. Which isn't bad. Honestly, like, the UGFs here don't really feel like they are anything. It feels like they are a dungeon. With absolutely no, purpose or, you know, utility or function. And yeah, I don't know necessarily what the it'll be interesting with the distribution centers, because I think maybe the idea is that, like, you have a main building and then you've got like a west wing, or you've got a starboard wing and a port wing, I guess. And those wings could be different thing, could be different, like, could be a refinery or a manufacturing thing, I think. And then you've also got underground portions that are like storage areas, maybe manufacturing facilities. The more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm like, you know what? I'm pretty sure that's the thing I'm thinking of, but we'll see. I might be completely off on that. I probably am. Also, this is great. I'm sure I just missed over this dude. But it does open up the opportunity for, like, other types of facilities, like operation centers, or I thought of another name. Oh my god. That was really bad. That was terrible. Oh my god. Sorry. I don't even know what to say. I really don't even know what to say. But yeah, like, maybe you have some place that is a, like, an actual manufacturing facility, like a solely manufacturing facility that actually looks different. Or maybe you have a ship manufacturing facility, or like a security force star base or something, or, like, you know, local security air base or hangar, whatever term you want to use. Starbase, I don't know. Starbase seems like, if I was going to describe a thing that holds space fighters and spaceships, I think Starbase would be the term I would use. I don't know if that's the term that, I don't know if that would fit best with Star Citizen. What else? Oh yeah, so yeah, and also, again, in terms of, like, the idea of, like, having, you know, lawful aggressive, unlawful aggressive, unlawful aggressive, unlawful non-aggressive, having, like, trying to mix all of those, potentially having those 4 different kinds of players all in one mission area, at the same time. At the same time, with no sort of like basically having to self-police themselves. Yeah, that's not gonna, like, it's gonna be a way to encourage PvP. It is a way to encourage PvP, but well, I don't know. I guess, like, people are gonna look at it as, like, the new content being locked behind PvP more than anything else. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. I should have probably died there. Oh, God. And EVAs, there wasn't too much information on, like, there wasn't too much new information, I don't think, on the interaction menu stuff. I think they mentioned, like, they did mention things about, like, I think the word jetpack was mentioned. They specifically mentioned having, like, potentially, like, backpacks with more EVA fuel, though, and that was, like, the thing they explicitly talked about and were, like, explicitly, like, this is a thing that's happening. Not necessarily jetpacks. Which I don't know, I'm really curious about, because in my mind, jetpacks seem like they would be a really good thing. So not every armor is going to be able to use EVA. You're not going to be able to, you're not always going to be able to move around in space so freely. Depending on which suit you have. Body just despawned in front of my eyes. Beautiful. Depending on what kind of suit you have, you might not have EVA at all. And you have to rely on hands, on grappling stuff with the tractor beam and handholds or whatever. And nice. And in that case, it seems like it would be a potentially really sensible thing to do, in my mind, to have a jetpack for armors that don't have EVA. And like, what's the trade-off? Well, like, you know, you have a jetpack. Maybe it has a little bit of storage capacity on it, but if it's a jetpack that's like your only, like, you know, it's there pretty much exclusively to be a jetpack, and not much else. Oh God, what? That was that was not great, but that was, I guess it worked. So whatever. It also actually did, it also did remind me of a thing with armor archetypes. So I think I've mentioned before that, like, armor archetypes was, like, the biggest disappointment of CitizenCon for me, because they literally did not, there was no new information. The first time I saw them talk about the armor archetypes, it was a slideshow, and, the latest time I've seen, it was just a slideshow, and it was no new information. It was the same information, and I went back and I looked, they mentioned it in 2019, and then they mentioned it. I'm not sure if they mentioned it in 2022. They might have in like the last. That CitizenCon had like was the one with Chris Roberts and Richard Tyre with like the 2-hour presentation on like Squadron 42 stuff that basically got like completely rehashed in for 2023's CitizenCon, basically, and there might have been I did not check that, but the latest time they mentioned armor archetypes in the 2023 CitizenCon, it was basically just a shorter, more condensed version of the 2019 thing with like the classifications of armor types changed over. I can't remember when it like, instead it wasn't like the new terms are combat support, combat fighter, combat specialist, utility, and support, I believe. And I think it was like, I don't know, I think utility might have been like, utility explorer and utility support or medic or something. And like, yeah, so, and I don't know, like, watching back at those and looking and hearing them talk about like, oh, this is like this is the things gonna be in for this is what's gonna be a thing when this stuff comes in, like, yeah, like the combat specialist might be, might not have quite as good armor as the pure combat things, but maybe there's a combat specialist thing that is specifically EVA combat or something. I guess we're just gonna go. Looks like I've done my job here. Also looks like there's not really any containers, which is unfortunate. And yeah, like, don't get me wrong, again, like the armor archetypes thing, I am super excited for, but again, it's like, they haven't really shown any new information on it, and I don't think, like, it's not actively being worked on, clearly, at least not right now. And just seeing that slideshow like 4 years later, like the name's changed, and I'm sure there's been some really like high end, thought on how the balance should be, and some, but nothing like, it's not like it's going to be a new thing, in the next patch or anything. So yeah. Geez. I will also say, right now, okay, so right now, like, I don't know. Last week, the Inside Star Citizen Live weren't particularly, meaty. They weren't, they were pretty simplistic, right? I guess not last week. The last this week in Star Citizen, there wasn't much to. Didn't really feel like there was much to go over. I don't know. There's a little bit of me that's like my sort of desire to play Star Citizen is waning a little bit, and it ebbs and flows, obviously. But yeah, I I do have some other things that I'm thinking of doing, let's just say. So specifically, like, I'm thinking of like taking a little hiatus with Starfield Galactic Guide and doing Fallout New Vegas. Like, it genuinely started out as like a, I don't want to do like, I don't want to go on a hiatus for Starfield. Like, I really don't. I really do want to, but I also really don't want to. And like, now I'm like, you know what? No, I'm absolutely doing this because this is just like, hot damn, I need to do this. But yeah, and you know, Star Citizen's also. Of course, I'm still gonna do Star Citizen weekly. I don't like. I mentioned before in the first one that like I might get burned out at some point. I might take a hiatus on it. Especially sometimes when the game likes to do this. What the? What the hell? Oh, you know what? Sorry. So there is a lot of. There is also other news now that I'm thinking about this. Distortions just reminded me. Overdrive. I don't know what the Overdrive event is. I'm not in Evocati. I'm not in Evocati. And yeah, like, all I know about the Overdrive event is that it involves boarding an Idris. Xenothreat are involved somehow. And I think it might be like... And I think it might be like a precursor thing to Xenothreat or something? Let's see. I guess we can put our landing gear down. My landing gear down. Yeah, so I am interested, I am excited for Overdrive, whatever the fuck that's gonna be. But yeah, I don't know. But I'm really, really excited for Fallout New Vegas right now. There's like, I will say that there's a lot of stuff. Like, I definitely have like had rose tinted goggles for New Vegas because it was like my first Bethesda game, and yeah, like going back, I modded the shit out of it. I actually hit the mod limit. Did you know? Did you know that Fallout New Vegas can only support 255 mods? Well, now you know. Or maybe it's 250. I'm not. I think it's 255. But yeah, now you know. Yeah, it's definitely something. It's definitely something. Did I just move to the right when I reloaded my gun? Interesting. Oh, and also, yeah, the EVA stuff also is like definitely super exciting. Don't let me gloss over that. But also, I don't think we really have information. What the fuck? I think actually the most noteworthy thing, also, another thing that they mentioned, another thing that got shown in the ISC, new weapon sights. I don't know if anybody said that they were gonna do the weapon updates, like, or they were gonna do all the updates, like the weapon overhaul stuff. I don't think I saw anyone say they were gonna do it like piecemeal. Some of the weapons, some of the time, like, but yeah, there's a bunch of new weapon sights. And presumably a lot of weapons that got that have been converted over to the procedural recoil system. There's actually some interesting thing. People, so there was a bug. Oh shit. Oh my god. Wow, okay. The amount of shots it took to hit that dude was depressing. So, the weapon sights have all gotten extraordinarily thin. And, like... it was an interesting thing that there were people who genuinely did not like that. I think it's not necessarily like this isn't bad, but genuinely, like, and I don't know, I'd have to actually see it in game, but I want to say like the Klausenwerner, the Gallant, it had a you know, like a square notch and a post, but the front post was like half the width of this front post, and I want to say that the rear sight probably had maybe like 25% more gap, or was the notch was 25% wider or something like that, which is not like you might see that in real life, but that would be like a really it'd be a very interesting thing, because like, and I could be misremembering things, but like there is some history with iron sights, and that I'm remembering. There's a long history of like there's a long history of militaries adopting adopting iron sights based off of like match, how well they did in competitive shooting matches, and not actual like shooting conditions. So if you could get a sight that was really, really precise, really fine, really precise, good for target shooting, that would be the sight the military would be interested in, because it did well on like a practice range. This would not fly for like super. You would not be able to hit something like 1,000 meters away with a sight like that. With a sight like this, you would have like a very, very fine peep sight, but in terms of actual combat usage, it would be like so fine that it would be hard to actually see through. This honestly seems fine to me, and I don't know, like, I believe the P8 is getting a ghost ring aperture, which fine, whatever. This honestly just seems fine. I don't see much of a point in changing it. And the Klausenwerner, if I remember correctly, or the Gallant, I'm sorry. The Gallant specifically was some pretty chonky, like, block sights. Which, yeah, maybe they could be thinned out, but it, again, like, they changed it a lot. And it seemed just kind of ridiculous to me when I looked at it and realized that. And like, yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. Most people are probably going to use optics anyways, but like, eh. Let's heal this thing up before I derp out. Also, I am totally misremembering. I'm forgetting that I changed my keys around, and now I changed my keys around, and now I've got the free cam on, or the third-person cam on F7 instead of F4. It's like, I don't regret that decision, but it is a weird decision. Also, I can't wait. I don't know. I would assume that when they do this mission in the future, you're not going to be able to use the bed for regen. Not because you can't use an 890 bed for regen, but like, just because there will be like a resource that you need, and this just, they're not going to put the resource in the mission area for regen. I would assume. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. And maybe it'll also be up to random chance, but yeah. I also, very tempted to just try and keep this shorter, because I think I've kind of gone over everything I want to do, and I want to record that Fallout thing. Start recording Fallout. So, yeah. You know, it's also, and yeah, I don't know, I'll wait and see, because, like, I think one of the things, they want to have, like, all bearing sights be, like, apertures, which I think, like, or, you know, they want to have, like, oh, this company is going to use this kind of sight. And, like, that's okay. That's fine. It is fine, but it's, like, I don't know. There are definitely companies that it would be a very, very strange thing to see, like, Bearing have an aperture sight on a pistol. You do not see ghost rings or aperture sights on pistols typically, just because, like, it really just does not work as well. And I mean, granted, I don't think I've ever used an aperture sight. I don't think I've ever shot any gun with an aperture sight. Also, yeah, what else? Oh, you know, it's also, I don't know. Apparently there's some, I don't know if drama's the word, but there are people who are like, I saw some post where somebody was like, if you're curious about, like, for those people who are asking about, like, or who are talking about when 323 is gonna release, and it's like, I don't know, they were pointing out that April is in fact in Q2, so why would they release the Q1 patch in Q2? And, like, look, oh my god, I don't know. It's whatever. Actually, you know what? Hold on. I don't need to loot anything. I'm gonna look up when each patch came out, okay? Real quick. Cause, yeah, there have been Q1 patches, like, there are new people who are like, okay, so, like, when they say a Q1 patch, they should mean this. And, like, I mean, they should mean this, because that's what any logical person would think of as, like, a Q1 patch is going to release in Q1. Okay. And, like, somebody who doesn't know that, like, the Star Citizen, the sort of release cadence and sort of delays and all that stuff. That person just might not know how ridiculous that sounds for them to release a Q1 patch in March. That's not gonna happen. Like, I'm sure maybe one time it has, and like the Q4 patches release in Q4, but that's because the Q4 patches are the Q4 patches are always like that, for reasons, because it's like their break, and because it's their winter break. A bunch of people go on break, and they just have a smaller patch that they can get out at the end of the year, and usually it's quality of life. But yeah. And also, god damn it, I know this video series probably isn't going to hit the masses, but let me pull it up here. Real quick. Alright. Because you can go, for those curious, you can go to Robert Space Industries. You can go to apps, you can go to roadmap, go to a little tab that says development as well. Go to release view, let's see here. Show all releases. 3.1. Oh, does it not actually say Q1, Q2? Hold on. Alright, it starts with 3.1. 3.1 released on March 31st, 2018. So, Butter My Biscuit, that was a little bit wrong. Alright. So, yeah. June, November, yeah. Alright, so 3.1 released in March, fair enough. 3.2 released in June, also fair enough. 3.3 released in November, definitely a little late. 3.4 released in December, sensible. 3.5 released in April, so Q1 patch released in April. 3.6 released July 19th, so it released in Q3. 3.7 released in October, so Q3. And 3.8 released in December 2019. 3.8 was the first one I played. 3.9, and we'll just go with the Q1 patches here, I guess. 3.9 was in April. 3.9 was in April. 3.13 was in April. And then things get a little weird. No, yeah, 3.18 is where things get weird. Well, no, yeah, but no, 3.17 was kind of like 3.16.1, kind of. But, 3.17 released in April, so bada bing, bada boom. Yeah. Well, and then, oh yeah, oh no, right. Yeah, and then it was a really weird thing. 3.18 released in March 10th, 2023. 3.17 released in April 29th, 2022. Right, remember when that was, 3.18 was supposed to be this great patch, and it wasn't. Anyway, I don't know. Just, if you're new to the project and listening to this, hello, welcome. Stuff gets delayed. CIG is sometimes very optimistic about sometimes release dates, sometimes how things are going to work, sometimes mechanics. And sometimes they are good, well thought out ideas, sometimes they are things that are different for the sake of being different, and literally only for being different. And yeah, I don't know, like 323, I mean, I cannot wait for 323, but there's definitely going to be some things that I'm sure are going to be an absolute pain. Not to mention like freight elevators, the inventory management system, like all that stuff, probably is going to slow the game down. And like, I don't know, I don't know, this is probably going to be like a 30-minute video. And I might have spent like an hour playing so far. Like that playtime might be increased to, like 2 hours. No, probably not that bad. It'll probably be like, an hour and 10 minutes. Just it might take an extra few minutes to do stuff, but oh yeah. Not too much else to say really. Also apologies for literally just staying in space. I try to do stuff. I don't know. If I do combat, I get distracted and I forget what I'm talking about. So yeah, I guess until next time, have a good day. Great day even. Chowskis.